Shalom, Kol Halo, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahak, Wadash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. The 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like those heathen. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson. And I pray this lesson be edifying and eye-opening. This was a video that our beloved Apostle Aramlab sent to me yesterday. And, and I prayed about it. The Spirit was, got on me today to do it. I wanted to do it last night, but, it just wasn't working out. But I am going to point out some things that, because this is almost seems to me like one of those situations where you can't beat them, join them. Because, the men of the Great Millstone especially started using this book a lot, going back about a little over a decade ago. And they actually, and I bought this book in 2008. I ordered this book, and I think I paid about anywhere between $20 to $30 for it. If I remember correctly, it was probably somewhere around there. It was definitely under $30. But I've seen this book as high as $32,000. So they really wanted to put a lid on this book and this information. And even though he proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Edomites are still here, but then they also are going to throw a lot of things in there that are not true. And they also, in the book, Who is Esau Edom, also showcases something that I point out all the time, that there is a war between Judaism and Christianity that people like Vocab Malone, Apologist, try to ignore as if it's not going on. Because what you have is a portion of Edom, the white Christians, all right, so-called. There's no such thing as white people. That's a self-proclaimed, social construct that they made up. Pointing out that, that the JOOs, the small hatters, that the Ashkenazi are the Edomites. But then you also have the rabbis pointed out that Christianity, white Christendom, is Esau, as they call it. All right. So, and it's funny how nobody in Christianity wants to speak about this. Now, certain rabbis have no problem pointing out that white Christianity is Esau Edom, but you'll never see, people like Vocab Malone, address this matter at all. As a matter of fact, none of the apologists or none of his cronies will respond to this video, because I know they're going to see it, or they'll just avoid this topic altogether. So without any further ado, we're going to allow this narrator, Paul Matrogen, read from this book, and then I'm going to stop it and point out the things that he ignores. And I'm going to do it because what he does is, you won't hear him say the Israelites. All right, because Esau Edom, they definitely are Edomites. Esau Edom definitely are Hebrews. They're just not the Hebrew Edomites. They're not the Hebrew Israelites. They're the Hebrew Israelites. And so what you will see is this replacement theory. You will hear Jewish where it's supposed to be Israel or Israelite. All right. Remember, it's the 12 tribes of Israel, not the 12 tribes of Jewish. When you speaking about Jewish, you're talking about the converts that were converted to following the Bible forcefully after losing a battle at the hands of John Hyrcanus, a Levite priest, family member of the biblically famous Maccabees. All right, which was the remnant of what was left of the kingdom of Judah after the fall of Jerusalem. All right. So remember that. They replace Israelite with Jewish, and they still do it to this day. All right. It is the 12 tribes of Israel, not the 12 tribes of Jewish.
Who is Esau Edom? Written by Charles Weisman. Read for you by Paul Matrigine. This is a free tearingdownidols.com audiobook. Reproduction and redistribution are encouraged. For more free reading and listening material, please visit tearingdownidols.com. Chapter 1. The Legacy of Esau Edom. To help answer the question of who is Esau Edom, the first necessary step is to examine the racial and genealogical history of Esau and his descendants. Life and history of Esau. Esau was the firstborn of Isaac, and thus was heir to the birthright derived from the direct racial lineage of Adam to Noah to Abraham. Thus, Esau was racially an Adamite, a Semite, and a Hebrew, the racial stock of the white race.
And that would be true. Now, what he just tried to say is that the Adam was a so-called white man. So you have to ask, well, how did Adam have, a so-called black son if he was a so-called white man? Because physically, to this day, white people cannot produce melanated children. However, melanated people can produce pale children. So that's your first lie. Your first disingenuous, misleading statement. All right? So that is a lie. And Adam means from the ground. It does not mean red. There are not two sets of white people. Okay? As some of them like to teach, this whole Japhet is the white man too thing. No. There isn't two sets of white people. Japhet was a melanated people as well. All the sons of that came out of Noah were men of color. Esau, Edom, was the first to come out red. All right? Like rednecks. You think of the Confederate flag. Well, it's not just their necks that are red. Their cheeks, their faces, their hands, their bodies. All right? The red man. That's what he really is. Native Americans were brown. All right?
Just as Esau despised his birthright, Genesis 25, verse 34, when he sold it to Jacob, he also despised his race by marrying strange women outside of his race. Esau married the daughters of Canaan, or Canaanites.
Now let's stop right there. And we'll jump to this book here, The History and Treasures of Egypt. Because Egyptian history, and I'm holding that book in my hand, right here. See? I've got that book. The history of Egypt is important because the Israelites came to be among the Egyptians. All right? The Egyptians were Mizraim, a son of Ham. Esau Edom likes to use the curse of Ham to justify the enslavement of the Israelites, or what he fraudulently called Negroes. Now, before we examine some of the images in this book to prove what I'm saying, because what Esau Edom, a so-called white man, a self-proclaimed white man, likes to do is he likes to show you Egyptian history from the time of the Ptolemies. All right? When Alexander's general Ptolemy took over, when he set up Ptolemy over Egypt while he was yet still alive. All right? And white people became, so-called self-proclaimed white people, became the pharaohs, the new kings of Egypt at this time. So they like to show you history from that standpoint and try to disregard the fact that the Egyptians was in fact a son of Ham. And Ham was the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes. Hence the Zondervan's Dictionary Bible. As you can see, it says Negroes are not descendants of Hams according to the Zondervan Dictionary Bible. And that's 100% true. All right. Then it's got even imagery of these so-called Negroes in the ancient time. Okay. Now, Ham, perhaps Hot, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, one of 8 persons to live through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, all right, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites, all right. In his indecency when his father lay drunken, well, we don't even have to go there. But Canaan got cursed, all right? And so they love to use this so-called curse of Ham against Canaan to justify the Negroes going into slavery and try to suggest that the Negroes are Canaanites. But guess what? The Canaanites occupy all of the land of Israel and everything in the north of Africa, all the way up to where outside of the part where Mizraim was in Egypt, but everything north of there and east of there was occupied by Canaan, the brother of Mizraim. All of the land of Israel and everything above it, all the way up into Assyria and into Iraq, were these dark-fleshed Canaanites. So let's look at what these people look like. I'm just going to go into some of the images in this book. And you have to remember, hey, Shalom, beloved, I'm right in the middle of a lesson, brother. Let me hit you back. All right, Shalom. If it wasn't him, I wouldn't even answer that. Let me turn this ring off now, but I'll hit that brother back as soon as I'm done here. But here we go. What's my first page? Well, I could just turn to any. I got so many marked off. But here we go. This is just page 3. These are not sub-Saharan. As a matter of fact, everyone in Africa, all right, were Hamites. They try to make it like the north of Africa was a different stock, all right? But that's an Edomite lie. That's them trying to adjust history. And once again, they're trying to adjust history from the time of, from the time of Ptolemies. And these are the armies of Philistia. This is who King David fought. He fought a people that looked similar to him. All right. Let's go to page 62 now. And matter of fact, let's go back so you can see this is the book that we're in. Them trying to destroy, these perfectly preserved statues, but they tried to destroy the nose and the lips to hide the features. All right. Same thing they did on the Sphinx. And you can clearly see that that's an African woman. There's an image. I'll see if I can find it in my phone of a Hamite woman profiled next to it. And then I'm showing you a Hamite woman profiled. But yeah, here. And here were the Israelites in slavery building the pyramids. All right. You don't see Benjamin Milkowski, also known as Netanyahu, where, you don't see his people. This is page 62. All right. Those are the Hebrews slaves amongst the Egyptians building the pyramids. You can see the pyramids on the bottom. All right. That's what you're looking at. As a matter of fact, let's get a scripture. This is because you don't even have to go deep into this video. I mean, I'm a minute in, and look how we're destroying their lives. All right, maybe this will end up being a multi-part series, and I could probably get 5 videos out of the first 5 minutes of this man talking, and with receipts to prove all points. But this is both scriptural receipts and ancient relics, which works against Esau Edom, because Esau Edom is a liar and he's fabricated history. All right, and you know, people like Vocab Malone, they got no answers for this. This is Jeremiah 14:2. Judah mourneth in the gates thereof language, they are black unto the ground. So he tries to go into that they are mourning, but is also speaking about them being physically dark like the ground. That you can't deny either. The cry of Jerusalem has gone up, and then why in the JPS and all the newer versions of the Bible that they remove, they are black unto the ground? Why do they have to go and remove that? But guess what? The relics show forth it. You know, that's Psalms 85:11. That the earth should. As a matter of fact, let me just, let's just go to it. I mean, I quoted it, but I may as well read it. It says, truths shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. So the relics that were left behind, you know, tell a different story, a different narrative of what the controlled false narrative of so-called white people, self-proclaimed white people. You know, remember whiteness and blackness, because these people are swarthy. Whiteness and blackness are social constructs fraudulently created by the so-called white man. These are Egyptian royalty. You can clearly see that these are not so-called white people. All right. Yeah, more images of Egyptian royalty and more images of Egyptian slaves. All right, right there. Pottery, art left behind. Okay, Hebrews. Young Hebrews in slavery in Egypt. All right, and then the Egyptian. You see, these people are working. The Hebrews were forced to do all the labor. All right. It says how Jacob came in, 70 people, and left out millions. He came in with all his children. And there's an image of that too. They call him something else. And then you have the time of the Ptolemies. All right. When white people took over and they became the new face of the new pharaohs, the new Egyptians. All right. They became the new Egyptians, the new royalty. All right. Cleopatra, her bloodline, the Edomites. Cleopatra was an Edomite. You know, some people try to get angry when she's portrayed as a white woman. She was. And even if she did have a little bit of melanin, it still wasn't taken away from the fact that she was from the stock of Esau Edom. All right. Here we go. Talked about how Jacob came into Egypt with all his cattle and those are your Israelites right there. When Joseph's family came in with all their sheep and their goats, all right, and Joseph was dressed like an Egyptian, his brothers didn't even recognize him. Okay? So these are the citizens, the people of the land at the time, before the control of the so-called white man, before Esau Edom got his hands. All right, so let me see how far we are. Wow, I'm 1 minute and 30 seconds into this video. 1 minute and 30 seconds. All right, we'll let it go for about 30, 40 more seconds. I can see this is going to be a long series, and Esau Edom is going to be butthurt and mad. Vocab's really going to have a hard time with this one.
Genesis 28, verse 6, 36, verse 2. The daughters of Hath, or Hittites. Genesis 26, verse 34.
And he's giving scripture in reference to the fact that Esau kept marrying these Hamite, these women like you've just seen. And it wasn't because of their color of their skin, as they're really trying to hint at. They really make everything about color. It was because of their false gods and their ways, which is why, because he's saying this as if the Hebrew women weren't dark. Everyone was dark. except Esau. All right, Esau was born with the mark of Cain. All right, in the I have them on the shelf behind me, the complete works of Shakespeare. And if you and anyone can pick up a copy of this, I don't even have to show it. You can just do some research yourself. All right, convince how that scripture goes. A man must be convinced in his own mind. But when you pick up the complete works of Shakespeare and you go to the glossary and you look up the word Cain, it tells you colored red, which was also red is another way of saying white, so-called white people. All right, because when you look up newborns red, what you're gonna see? You're gonna see, so-called white people. Now let's remind you, this isn't a color thing, because some so-called white people are Hebrews, are Israelites. These white people are Hebrews automatically. You can't take that away from them. They're just not the right kind, according to the scriptures. They're the Hebrew Edomites, just like you have Hebrew Ammonites, Moabites, Elamites. There's a lot of Hebrews. All right, Hebrew Ishmaelites. So just saying that someone is a Hebrew, but we got to, Paul said, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. That's what we're talking about. The Hebrew Israelites, which this guy jumps right, and we're going to get to that portion. He jumps right from this, talking about Esau being Adamites and of the stock of the so-called white people, which is true. But he tried to say that in a way that it insinuates that Adam was so-called white, which is a fraud, which is a lie. All right. But then he jumps right from, and he doesn't mention the Israelites at all, and jumps straight to Jewish. Jew and Jewish. All right. And there is a huge difference between being Jewish and being an Israelite. Remember, it's the 12 tribes of Israel, not the 12 tribes of Jewish. All right. And this guy, the parents of Esau didn't want him to be with those Hamites because of not because of the color of their skin, right, but because of their way of worship, their idolatry, their wickedness, all the weird, shit that they did. All right. That's what it was about. And that, so that, what was that? Ezra's, I believe, 9 and 7. That group of Hamites were the only, groups that he told them to stay away from for that reason. Let me see. Find that scripture, and then we'll wrap this up and just call this one part 1. That confusion. I guess I can't read that. But this is Ezra's 9 and 7. Since the days of our fathers, we have been a great Salakia, since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day. And for our iniquities we have our kings and our priests been delivered into the hands of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to the captivity, to a spoil, and to the confusion of face that it is to this day, meaning we've been laden in confusion. Not that we look different, because we used to use that scripture. That was an old breakdown. But it's not really talking about we look different. It's really talking about us being lost in the sauce, so to speak. All right, and the reason the Lord didn't want us to deal with these people was because of their following of idolatry, the alphabet lifestyles and all the weird shit that these people did. Hence the reason why Abraham was told to get from among his people. They were idolaters. They were messing with false gods and stuff like that, and the Hamites were heavy into that. Okay, they were heavy into that sort of thing, and the Lord wasn't with that, which is why He didn't want us to intermingle and intermix with these people. All right. Let's grab this one real quick. Make this the last scripture for this session. But this is Amos 9 and 7. And it reads, "Are ye not as the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel?" So once again, going back to, looking at the images of Mizraim and his brethren, the Hamites, all right? Are ye not, because Ethiopia is a are so-called black Africans. Are ye not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Didn't say Jewish. Saith Yahweh, have not I brought up Israel? Didn't say Jewish. Out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Captor, and the Syrians and Ker. Now, once again, going into this book. Behold, the children of Ham, Philistines, their armies, according to the relics that were left behind. Okay. So, and let's get that definition again. One more time. Zondervan definition. Let's get another one. Definition of Ham. Well, you can't see that one as well, so we'll go back to this one again. All right. Ham, perhaps Hot, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor, the father of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. All right, so, and these were the people that the Israelites were dealing directly with when they came into the land that was promised to Abraham and the people of North Africa, which Esau Edom tries to label them as white people today, trying to control the false narrative. All right. But the Hamites, and it's funny how they love to use the curse of Ham to justify slavery, but then try to deny that the Canaanites, but then in their stories and their imagery, they make the Canaanites so-called white. All right, that was called the Hamitic theory. Just pure liars. But with that, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, Kwam Yasharallah, and Abba Babal.